Hello everyone. In this video, we'll discuss about default parameters in JavaScript. While defining the functions, we'll assign some default values to parameters. That is called default parameters. So, I will tell you one small example, then you can understand easily. Okay, so let me take one JavaScript file like default example.js like that I'm taking. Okay, default example.js. Okay, see, first you need to define your function. Function so you need to use the function keyword first, then you need to define the function name. So I am taking function one like that I am taking. So while defining the function, we'll assign some values to your parameters. So here I am taking three parameters like arg1 comma arg2 comma arg3. So this is the three parameters. So you will assign some default values like, so for arg1 I am giving the h1, and for arg2 I am giving the h2. So for arg3 I am giving the h3. So this is the default values to your params. Okay, now I am consoling these three params. Console.log of arg1 comma arg2 comma arg3. Now you need to call your function. So how to call the function? With the help of function name. So first I did not pass any arguments here. So there is no arguments now. So while calling this, after calling this function one is called here arg1. In the arg1, h1 is stored into arg1 and h2 is stored into arg2 and h3 is stored into arg3. This is the default values. You will get the default values even though if you not pass any arguments while calling the function. See, I am run the command now. Note what is the this file name, default ex, right? So default default ex.js. So see, here I am getting the three values like h1, h2, h3. Why? Because here it's not a normal params, it's a default params, right? So while defining the function, I am assigning some values to my params. That's why I am getting these default values. Now let me take one more example like, so function 1. So while calling the function, here I am like Angular like that I given. See, we'll see the output 1. So this Angular is stored into arg1. So here h1 is replaced with the Angular and remaining arg2 and arg3. So the default values I am getting. Okay. Now let me take one more example. So I am calling this function with undefined. So for three undefined I am giving. See, even though if I pass undefined, I will get the three default values. Why? Because so I already assigned some default values to my parents, right? So that's why I'm getting h1, h2, h3. But if you explicitly pass null values to your function, definitely you will get a null. So everything it will be null. So here I am passing the null value. So this null value is stored into this arg1, arg2 and arg3. See, I am saving my file. See, I am getting the null. Okay, so this is the default parameters in JavaScript. So let me take one more example with one default parameter and one rest parameter. So I am taking one more file, default2.js like that I am taking. Okay. So here I am taking one more like function like function 1. So you can give your own name. Okay. Here first I am taking one normal parameter. So second I am taking one default parameter. So default parameter you will assign some default value For this, I'm giving h1. And now the third param is spread parameter. So I am taking spread parameter here. So you will define the spread parameter with dots, right? So I already explained in the rest parameter example. So please go on through my videos, then you can understand the what is the rest parameter and how to store the multiple values in an arguments in an array using the rest parameter. Okay, now here I am consoling these three values like arg1 comma arg2 comma arg3. Okay, now I am calling the function now. So here I did not pass any arguments here. See, the first one is normal param, right? So definitely you will get the undefined value. Why? Because here I did not pass any values while calling the function. But in the second param is, it is a default param. So the arg2, for arg2 you will get a h1. But arg3, it's not a normal parameter, it's not a default parameter, it's a rest parameter, right? So in the spread parameter, so rest parameter and spread parameter both are same, right? So in the spread parameter, the default value for this is empty array. So I'm saving my file. See, we'll see. We'll see the output once. Note default 2.js. Okay. See, the first one I'm getting undefined. So for arg2 I'm getting h1. For arg3 I'm getting the empty array. Why? Because this arg3 it is a spread parameter. Now here I'm passing some values again. I'm passing, so not Angular. Okay, we can give JavaScript like that. Now I'm saving my file. See, the first parameter is normal parameter. Here I am passing only one argument. This JavaScript is stored into arg1. So for arg1 you will get a JavaScript, but arg2 you will get a h1. For arg3 you will get a empty array. See JavaScript h1 empty array. Now I am taking one example. So here 3 undefined I am passing here. So 3 arguments are undefined I am taking. See, so first one is the normal parameter. So for arg1 you will get undefined, but arg3, even though if you are passing the undefined, here we assign some default value, right? So that's why you will get h1 for this arg2. But arg3 is the spread parameter. You will get undefined value in an array. See, I am getting the undefined h1 undefined in array. Now I am passing the null values explicitly. Okay, null comma null comma null. See, I am saving my file. See, I am getting the null null null. So the third param is spread parameter. That's why the null is it is like printed in like some array format. Okay, now here I am taking HTML, second param like CSS, like that I am taking. Okay, and third param I am taking JavaScript. Now I am taking one more, so it's not param, it's argument. So the last argument is Angular, like that I am taking. See, here I am passing the 4 arguments, but here I am having only 3 params. So this HTML is stored into arg1. So for arg1 you will get HTML. But here in the second argument I am passing the CSS. So for arg2 this h1 is replaced with CSS. Now for arg3 you will get a JavaScript and Angular in a array. So why? Because it stored the multiple values, right? So in an arguments. See, I am saving my file. So except this HTML and CSS, remaining the values you will get the like this JavaScript and Angular in an array. So using the spread parameter. See, see, I am getting the HTML, CSS in the array. I am getting JavaScript and Angular. Why? Because for the first argument I am passing the HTML, so that's why this HTML is stored into arg1, and for arg1 I am getting HTML. But arg2 I already defined some default value here h1, but here I explicitly pass the CSS value, so this h1 is replaced with CSS. So that's why for arg2 I am getting the CSS. But arg3 it is the spread parameter. It will store the multiple values in an arguments in an array. So the JavaScript and Angular. So you can take multiple values here that all values are stored into in an argument. So in an array using the spread parameter. Okay. So this is the default parameter, guys. In the next video I will explain arrow functions in JavaScript. Okay. We'll meet you in next session. Thank you, friends. Bye bye.